Good evening, girls, boys, girls, ladies and gentlemen. We are back down the garage. And quite excited about tonight's video. The next 3 or 4 videos are all videos that I've been quite looking forward to making. There's been a lot going on behind the scenes to make these videos happen, hence why there's not been quite so much content coming out weekly, but we are now catching up with ourselves. So we have had a parcel turn up. Quite a nice parcel. Again, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll already know what's in that box. And now obviously we're making the car go very fast. We need to stop the car equally as fast in the scenario. Those lights are a bit bright, aren't they? In the scenario that we need to stop very fast. It's the way it goes, right? So in order to do that, standard Mark 1 1.3 discs weren't going to cut it. So I have managed to get myself a set of drilled and grooved 1.1 discs, which will still fit under the 13s. And I've kept the original calipers. We've got new pads, and the theory is the fact that the car is light enough, we shouldn't really need anything bigger than that. We're going to see how it goes, obviously. No, I'm completely joking here. We are obviously not putting these back on the car, and we are not putting those back on the car. If anyone wants them, give me a shout. You can have them for 20 quid plus post. They might do someone a turn. They're just a bit dirty from storage. They've never actually seen the road. But what we have got instead is some Willwood calipers, which I'm not going to show you just yet. And I've got some Black Diamond grooved, vented 20mm discs to go on there, which do fit under 13s. With the Willwoods, it all fits underneath that wheel there. But we're not going to get into that in this video. That is going to be in the next video. What we are concentrating on tonight is what's in this box. And what is in this box is quite exciting. So I've got to admit, I've already had this out of the box and sort of messed around with it this evening, because when car parts turn up, I'm not kidding, sweet shop, I just cannot wait to get them out of the box. So what we have got in here, as you could probably already guess, is a set of 3 reservoirs, a bracket and some lines. Obviously front brakes, rear brakes, clutch. So we have got those in here with this packaging. And then in the rest of the box, we have got a pedal box. We have obviously got a hydraulic clutch. We've got clutch master, front master, rear master, loud pedal, which is the one I'm really excited about, if I'm honest. I mean, a clutch and a brake is good, but it's the loud pedal everybody wants to hear, isn't it? So yeah, that is going to be the focus of today. So we are going to get that out of the box properly. I'm going to move the bike out of the way, which, if I'm honest, I might have knocked the bike over the other day and put quite a horrible little dent in the side of the car. Shit happens. Yeah, and then we are going to be putting that down in there. As you can see, I've already been running some of the brake lines and the clutch line. That's the front, left brake and clutch, which if I come around this side of the car, I'll just show you. Actually quite happy with the way it came out, nice and neat. So they just sort of pop through the bulkhead there, run across. Obviously that's the front brake, that goes through to the clutch, which goes up there. Obviously old braided line, we're not actually going to keep this, but I just used that for mock-up purposes for where this fitting was terminated. And then we have got a braided line, which is one of those old braided lines that I have converted for our clutch line, which is down there with this little fitting, which I will insert a time clip of in a minute of me sort of flaring that up. But that was a steel line, not copper, so to flare it I actually had, I think I was using a flat hammer to flare that. But yeah, got that all flared up. Huge shout out to Sean at Billet 4 Components, because that was something that he said, I got one laying around, I'll stick it in the post here. So he did, because he's a gentleman. Yeah, so we started putting lines in. Obviously they come through in there. You can sort of just see they pop through there, cart there, they're going to go across there. Obviously they're just hanging in there loose. I've not actually got them clipped in properly yet, because we need to get the box in and work out lengths, everything else. But yeah, that's the plan for tonight. I'm going to stop waffling, probably prop you guys here somewhere like that, and let's get a pedal box in the hole. Okay, right, offered it up, I've got it all adjusted. Well, I say adjusted, roughly adjusted. I'm just going to work out where this needs to sit for it to be comfortable for me to drive with. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to move the seat a little bit further back, which I kind of thought I was going to have to do anyway. But that does unfortunately mean that I might have to rearrange the seat mounts, which is annoying anyway. So I'm thinking we're going to sit this about there roughly. Touch works okay. Pedal kind of feels okay. I'm too close to the pedal box as it is. You can see kind of where I'm sitting. My knees are tucked right up, so the seat wants to go back more, so that I've got, once I'm sort of fully on the clutch, I've got a straight leg, which I haven't. It's not terrible, but a long journey like that is not going to be comfy. So we will need to do something about that down there at some point. But for the sake of tonight, we can still get this all mocked up. A few little bits to tweak just to get the angle right, I think, because it wants to sort of slide down a little bit more. It's probably about right there, I would think, to be honest. The accelerator pedal is sort of at a silly angle there, but that's kind of where it's got to sit because of how it is on the how it is on the thing there. Trying to heel toe, that's not going to be the fucking easiest thing, is it? It's quite hit that as it comes out, but one of those things I think it's going to take a little bit of getting used to, because it's the first time I've ever had a floor mounted pedal box. All of the other pedal boxes I've had have been like bulkhead mounted, standard mounted pedal boxes. So it's one of those things I think it's going to take a little bit of getting used to. And the angle of my foot is funny here because my leg is so bent. Once I'm like further back and my leg's in a better position, I'll be on that better. So yeah, right. Let's get this fixed into the floor, and then we can look at trying to run some lines, mount some reservoirs, that sort of thing. Fun. Okay, so it's a bit sweaty in here tonight. It's horrible. Right, I've now got, as you've just seen, all the holes drilled out, rib nutted, etc, etc. Quite happy with it, no problems at all. And I've now just come across something I'm not overly happy with. So, in the spirit of fairness, I will share this with you. With this kit that you buy, it's a complete kit, yeah, comes everything comes with. Comes with a fixing kit. These are M8s, right? Holes in the frame, which is nicely powder coated all over, for M6 bolts. So the M8 bolts don't fit. So coincidentally, I've now got to drill out the holes on here, which is not a big deal, but it means all the powder coating is going to come off where I drill the hole. A little bit less than ideal, but yeah, you know, 9 out of 10 so far. Let's crack on. Okay, right. That's the tractor angle, isn't it? Right, holes drilled. They've drilled out to fit. So, pop you guys back up there. Right, and then now we've actually got the right size holes, we should be able to just bolt straight into my M8 rib nuts. to it in a minute, just send it home with bugger duggers. Probably not the best way to do it, is it, to be honest. Right, okay, bolted in. It's a little bit of a pain in the arse. That one on the end there, still a little bit loose, and that one I've cross ready, so I need to pull that back out and re-riv nut, but we'll deal with that at a later date. Just send it. Right, it's in position now that it's bolted in. It's actually a lot more comfortable. I mean, obviously I still need to deal with the fact that my legs are like bent up like pretzels and move the seat back, but again, we'll deal with that another day. The pedals are a little bit too high for where my feet are, which I was kind of imagining, which I was kind of expecting anyway. And the way I'm going to deal with that is, obviously we've got that little footrest thing down there, is to get the square one they do as well. So it will lift my feet up off the floor like an inch, 2 inches, and then I'm on the pedals absolutely fine. So yeah, happy with that now that it's all in. So far, pretty impressed. Just pissed off had to drill them holes out. Doesn't make sense to me. Why supply M8 bolts and then not, you know, if they supplied M6s, then I would have put M6 riv nuts in, and then that wouldn't have been a problem. But because they supplied M8, so I looked at the bolts, I was like, fine, M8, put M8 riv nuts in, then realised the holes didn't fit. So maybe I should check first, I don't know, but whatever. Yeah, so next thing's next. I've got to mount up the reservoirs now. So let me climb out the seat. Luxury, as Mike would say. Right, reservoirs, here they are. Now these are a little bit bigger than I anticipated, if I'm honest. My plan was originally to mount them kind of in there somewhere, but given the length of them, I think if I mount them in there, A, they're going to clash with the wiper motor, which has to go there, and B, I don't think they'll clear the bonnet, I think they'll stick out. So I'm going to do some head scratching, I'm going to finish my beer, and hopefully we'll work out where these are going to go, and I will see you in just a second. Okay, as you just seen, scratched my head for a little while. I removed this plate here, I offered it up in there because that's where most people put them. Didn't like the way it looked, it was a bit bulky, it was in the way, it was ruining the way I like the engine bay. So, decided there was only one option, and that was to cut apart a perfectly good bracket and shorten it down, move the holes over. And now, as I had envisioned, they now envisioned, there we go. They do now fit in there. Obviously they'll sit straight, but if you look at the engine bay, I just feel like they sit in there very nicely. Not after much, but the way they fit quite nicely. And then what I'm going to do is where these, you can see actually, this is where I had them mounted last time round, and it's these two holes that are there. Those holes were where the copper lines went through beforehand. So what I'm going to do is just going to re-drill another set of holes. I think this is going to mount, I'm not sure whether I'm going to try and mount it as low as I can so that I've got enough clearance here. Although, yeah, that's too tight. But basically going to mount that up in there, and the lines will drop straight through and just poke out under here, and then they'll go straight through the bulkhead inside there. So they'll probably pop through on the flat piece of the bulkhead up here somewhere, which is quite difficult for me to show you, but they'll pop through there and then onto the trois master cylinders. So that's about as much French as I can speak, by the way. So yeah, that's what I'm going to crack on and do next. I am Not going to film it because looking at my GoPro, I've only got 1 minute and 17 seconds left on my memory card tonight, which is dire. I should probably buy myself a second memory card. But I'm not going to film it. I'm going to get this all done and then I'll see you guys in just a second when it's all in.
A few moments later.
Right, update time, and a very quick update because I've only got 1 minute 20 left on the SD card. It is now about, what's the time? Let's have a look. It's now 1 in the morning. Lovely. Yeah, so it's now 1 o'clock in the morning. I had to shut the garage door because it was noisy, you know, keeping my neighbours awake. But get the boxes in. I've got the lines run through the bulkhead here, they're all ready to go on. I have had them offered up onto the little nipples there, but I took them off to start running my copper brake lines. They're not finished yet, so I need to get the fittings to go in here, but they're all pretty much mocked up, and then I need to get a little T-piece to go in there. Just join those together. I've got the handbrake all plumbed up there, so that works. Well, it doesn't work because there's no fluid in it, but it's all plumbed up. Guiding reservoirs are all in, quite nice there, happy days, happy with that. They sort of run underneath there, you can't really see, and I've got this brake line in there. So, right, 14 seconds left. I'm going to go home, have a wash, have a beer, unload this footage onto the laptop, so when we come down here on Monday night, we can crack on with this video without having to worry about how much space is left on the SD card, because, you know, fun. Anyway, right, see you guys in just a minute. Okay, right, back down the garage, and this time I've got 32 minutes on the memory card, so we're not going to run out tonight. Anyway, right, I've been down here a few hours and I've lost my torch now, so I can't show you guys what I'm looking at. Right, we'll do it without the torch, you should be able to see. So yeah, been down here a few hours. I've got these last few lines bolted up, I've got my T-piece in there, all unions made off, etc, etc. These are the wrong unions, wrong threads for the master cylinders, so I need to buy some new ones of those to get that finished off. So moving on, I've unbolted the seat, and the plan is, I've just got to unbolt the harnesses first so I can actually get the thing out, but then the plan is to, I think, probably move this to there and then bolt it up roughly to see where it sits, but I think the seat being sort of back there somewhere is probably going to be about right. It's quite a long way back, but we'll see. So I'll get these moved over, and then we'll see where the seat sits and go from there. Right, give this a go. The seat's not bolted in properly, it's like well loose. But test this out for a bit of space. Right. Yeah, that's better. Clutch in. Actually, it's probably a bit too far, to be fair. That's too far, which sucks. Well, it's not. Yeah, it kind of is. It's not too far for that one. Yeah, it's definitely too far for the brakes. Right, back to the drawing board. as you've just seen, just welded up a new rear seat mount. Let me just turn this off. Had to get the fan going because it was getting a bit fumey in here. As you just seen, just welded up a new seat rail, which I'm going to show you very quickly. And the reason I'm going to show you very quickly is because it's been a while since I've done a bit of MIG, and if I'm honest, it's not the prettiest. So I'm not going to show you too close. I mean, it's fine, you know, it'll do the job, but it ain't pretty. Anyway, right. So we moved the seat back. You can see, so originally these holes were mounted in these holes, and where these holes here are, there, they were mounted in these holes here. So the whole seat's come back about, well, if you're a bloke, about 8 inches, no, 10 inches, obviously. So we've got nothing back here, but because of the way this steps down, and then over here, there's nothing, we've made up this seat bar, which is going to sit in there like that somehow. So let me bash it into place, and I'll see you in just a second. Okay, right, twatted into place. Obviously these aren't the bolts we're going to use because they're too long. They're sticking out like there's no tomorrow, but they give you the idea of where everything's going to mount this time around. So yeah, like I just said, because there's not, obviously on the front here, this is where the original seat mounts were, so this is double thick anyway. So welding straight to there wasn't a problem, and then likewise here, welding straight to there wasn't a problem, although I have realised I need to put a bead across the top there because I never did that when we first did the seat mounts. So yeah, that's why on the back edge we've gone for the full bar all the way across, because that just ties everything in, makes it a little bit stiffer, and it's my seat at the end of the day, so I want it to be as stiff as it will get, excuse the pun, because it's got to hold me in place, isn't it, if the worst should happen. So yeah, so we've got that all mounted up. These are obviously just bolts that I've just put in for now. These aren't actually the right length, that's why they're kind of sticking out miles. But you get the idea of where they were. So the seat has gone, obviously you can see where the passenger side seat is. That's sort of in line with where the seat was originally, and now this time the seat will sit a lot further back. So in theory, we should have, well, I say in theory, no, in practice, because we've actually, obviously we tried it before we welded everything together. The seat is much better now. I've got a semi-straight leg on the clutch. Brake feels good, accelerator pedal is good, in a much better position all around. The only thing that is a little bit annoying is I'm still quite low down in the car, and the way the steering wheel comes up, kind of when you're looking, the steering wheel sort of sits in your eye line about there. So that may be something to sort out another day. And obviously we've already got these seats on their highest setting, but again, I also am quite short, unfortunately. I wasn't blessed with all the height in the world, so that contributes to the factor. But by the time I get some seats in there, I'll just sit on a pillow. I'll get that through tech any week of the day. Any week of the day, any day of the week. Yeah, roll up to tech with a nice little cushion under my bum. I'm sure that will that'll get me through. But yeah, so that is that. I'm going to leave this video off here because if I'm honest, I'm not 100% sure how much footage I've got, and I'm not 100% sure what we've covered in it. But the pedal box is now in. The Girling reservoirs are now in. The lines kind of poke through. I need to get some different fittings for the ones that are on the top of there. The handbrake is plumbed up. The lines that go to each wheel, which under here, I'll show you real quick. Blur that out because you're not allowed to see that yet. But yeah, the lines run around there, obviously to their things. Productive. And if I'm honest, the brakes were the last massively, well, not massively expensive thing, but they were the last expensive have-to-have item on the list. There's a lot of other things that are an awful lot more expensive than that I want, but they're not have-to-haves to be able to drive the car. So in fingers crossed, I mean, obviously, we've missed all of the shows this year, if I'm honest. Ford Fair's just been and gone this weekend, which I couldn't go to because I found myself skint because of buying these brakes and stuff, but you know, that's the way life goes. I actually did a Saturday and a Sunday shift this week to try and recoup a bit of money, but there you go. Yeah, so that's that. I'm going to weld this up off camera because you've already seen enough welding as it is. Get the seat back in, and I will see you guys in the next video when we will be revealing that under there, which obviously is blurry because you're not going to see it just yet. But as always, like, comment, subscribe, let us know what you think, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers for watching.